Virginia basketball coach Bob Huggins. We'll go straight to questions. Please use the raised hands feature for your questions for Coach Huggins. Coach, our first question comes from Greg Hunter.
So, Bob, let's just start with the basics. What do you see from the Longhorns?
Really talented. They're really talented. They got a lot of guys can score. They got great size, a lot of depth. Chris did a great job in the portal.
Bob, you've used the portal this year too. How hard is it to combine all those ingredients when so many of them are new?
Which honestly, it's not a whole lot different than most years. I mean, most years you bring in, if you don't bring in a transfer or two, you bring in a bunch of freshmen. I think that's a lot harder than bringing guys in who have played somewhere for 4 years. You know, it was new to us. You know, Chris did a great job, but Chris has been doing it for a while. You know, he's been a big guy about taking transfers for quite a while, and we probably got on it a little bit late. But I mean, I think the guys that we brought in have been really productive for us.
Next question comes from Kevin Kinder.
Coach, your teams defensively have usually excelled at taking one or two big scorers out of the game. When you're facing a team like Texas has a lot of scores, you know, a lot of guys averaging a similar number of points, does that change the way you approach it defensively any?
I mean, I think it still comes down to you got to guard your man, don't you? I mean, yes, they have a bunch of guys who were the leading scorer where they were and were probably, for the most part, the leading scorer in whatever league they were in. So obviously they're very talented. But I mean, we've got to do our job. We've got to sit down, try to stay in front of them as best we possibly can and limit their number of shots.
When you're facing a team that has scores across the board like that, a lot of different positions, is there one over the other that you want to take away? Like, you know, take away a point, take away a classic scorer?
Depends on what they're trying to do. If they're trying to pound it inside, obviously you're going to have to do a better job of guarding guys close to the basket, or if they've got whatever dribble penetration, whether they're going to shoot a lot of threes. There's enough information out there that you ought to be able to figure that out.
Ethan Bach.
Hey, Coach. So after the postponement on Monday against TCU, just what's your overall thoughts on how the NCAA is handling the COVID postponements and forfeits?
I don't know that it's the NCAA. I think it's done conference by conference.
But what's your opinion on how they've handled it overall, like as just as from a confidence level?
From a what level? I'm sorry.
From a confidence level.
A confidence level?
Yeah.
I don't think they have any clue what's going on. I mean, they know who we're playing when we sit down and go over the scouting report with them.
Justin Jackson.
Hey, Coach, you know, obviously games aren't always or are never played on paper, but, you know, just kind of looking at the game in that aspect, you know, defensively, you know, you guys have been playing pretty well defensively recently. Texas has kind of been really good on defense for most of the year. Do you see any similar strategies in play there defensively? And, you know, what have they been able to accomplish on that end of the floor this year?
Well, Chris has always done a great job of stopping penetration. It's not pack line, but they do pack aside. They're pretty much try to make you play on one side of the floor and outnumber you on that side of the floor. And he's done a great job of it over the years and has perfected it. It's like anything else. You get some new guys. It takes them a little while to adjust and adapt to the newness of it. But I think in watching their games, I mean, they're getting better and better defensively. They're certainly not getting worse.
In a matchup like this, when it's, two defensive guys kind of going at it, I mean, obviously you get pumped up for every game, but for you personally, is it any more fun to kind of scout or prepare for a game that, it's kind of probably going to be a defensive struggle, or at least appears to be that way?
No, it's not. It's not fun. It's, we're both trying to win.
Right.
That supersedes anything else that happens or people think are going to happen during the game. The bottom line is you try to win.
Keaton Cummings.
Bob, you mentioned getting into the transfer portal game late. Is that something you guys want to try to do on an annual basis now, or is it really just when you need to? And how do you approach that moving forward?
Well, I think it's something that we need to do a better job of exploring early on. It's my thing has always been, I want to coach my team this time of year. But I think we need to do a better job of at least knowing what's in the portal and someone who could maybe fill some of our needs. We didn't do, it was new to everybody. It was probably newer to us than it was the people who have been taking transfers. We haven't taken a lot of transfers. So, but yeah, I mean, we're going to look at it. That's all I can tell you. I don't know. I don't know much more than that.
Greg Hunter.
So Bob, you guys have always, or at least for the most part, started the conference play with 2 road games. You were supposed to this year, but obviously the second is now postponed. Big disadvantage for you guys figuring the postponement. You're going to have to go out yet another time for a separate trip.
Well, I think you're all well aware of our travel schedule and how hard our travel schedule is. And it's hard in a lot of areas. I mean, it's hard academically. I mean, when you get back at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and you got an 8 o'clock class, you really, you're probably not at your peak performance at 8 o'clock in the morning academically. And the wear and tear, the wear and tear of getting back and then having. I mean, the travel for us is brutal compared to somebody who jumps in a bus and rides an hour on a bus and gets off in place. It's been rough, but I mean, it's been that way since we joined the league, and we have I think combated it about as well as it can be done.
Justin Jackson.
Hey, Coach, COVID question here. Just obviously, guys are getting back from Christmas vacation before this game. Did you guys, do you expect to have a full roster yourself for this game? Have you had any COVID complications within the roster coming back from Christmas?
Yeah, we've had a few.
Okay. So, I mean, will you, sounds like you might be missing a couple guys then, maybe then, or for this game, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a couple that'll be under the COVID protocol.
Greg Hunter.
Obviously, this game starts the Big 12 play for you guys. What have you seen from the league so far?
It's really good. I mean, I think the league coaches showed how much we know about things whenever they picked Iowa State to be last or next to the last. They're right now maybe the best team in the league. And I think everybody knew Baylor was going to be really good. They knew Kansas was going to be really good. I think everybody thought Chris going to Texas was he would be able to do really what he's done. You know, I mean, he's done a great job of picking up transfers that fit his needs, the needs of his team. So I don't think it was any shock to anybody what's happened in the league, except for Iowa State. I mean, Iowa State and maybe Kansas State. Kansas State, Bruce has done a great job. You know, I've watched him play a couple times. He's done a great job. He's always done a great job coaching, and he's really done a really good job of filling, I think, the needs of his team from the transfer and junior college route.
Greg Carey.
Bob, have you seen Carr adjust to kind of playing alongside with Ramey and Jones? Obviously, those other two guys have been there for a while, and Carr coming over from Minnesota, you know, as much as he kind of dominates the ball and makes things happen, what have you seen from him so far?
I don't think he's dominated the ball a lot. I think he's done good things with the ball when he had the ball, and I think he's fit in extremely well. They've got a lot of guys. I mean, sometimes it's hard when you've got that many guys that are all close to being about the same. And those perimeter guys they got are terrific. You know, playing against them for the last 2 or 3 years, 3 of them. Fabris is as good a shooter maybe as there is in the country, and nobody ever mentions him. And he's really good. And they've got size. They've put together a heck of a squad.
Questions for Coach Huggins, please use the raise hand feature. Justin Jackson.
Hey, Coach, just going off the question there before. So, I mean, if you're going to be missing a couple of guys, are you worried about the depth? I mean, you obviously have a lot of guys you can go to. So I'm guessing conference level still probably pretty good because just the number of players that you have available.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, who makes a big difference, you know, obviously. But yeah, I mean, we've been practicing. I think our guys are ready. You know, we've had plenty of time to prepare.
Back to Greg Hunter.
Bob, in terms of making up the TCU game, how much input do you have? Do you have a veto power when they tell you you're going to play this day, or do you just get on the plane and go?
Well, that's conference regulated. I mean, can I say we want to play here when? No, I can't do that, nor can anybody else in our league. That's the conference. That's 100% the conference in there. It's a hard job. It's a hard job, and I think as we continue, we're going to have probably more and more guys within the conference affected. You know, it's not going to be an easy thing. Not an easy fix.
You all dealt with it last year, games that were postponed around the conference, many involving you guys as well. How difficult was it? I mean, sometimes you don't know, I don't want to say day to day, but things get canceled. How tough is that to deal with?
What's particularly hard for us, because we can't jump in a bus and go play. So it's harder on us than it is anybody else. So, I mean, I would assume that it would continue to be that way. There's not a whole lot we can do about it. For instance, we had a 2-game road trip scheduled. We were going to go play Texas and then go up and play TCU. That is a whole lot easier on our guys than flying out to Austin, turn around, flying home, and then turn around and flying back out to Fort Worth. But I mean, it's not anybody's fault. There's nobody to blame. That's the way it is. Yeah, we have to deal with it.
Any further questions for Coach Huggins? Okay, Coach, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Michael.